It's Thursday, July 14. In the headlines, Service Excellency Policy launched. Support for public sector workers. Regionally, St. Lucia carnival season hailed a success. And in sports, Windies loses ODI series to Bangladesh. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaica has officially launched the Service Excellency Policy. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in his address, acknowledged the need for further improvement of service in the public sector. He says over the past 30 years, many programs were implemented, but more must be done.
While there is some evidence that these initiatives have had some positive impact in individual public sector entities, there is a general perception, and we might just add reality, reinforced by customer experience, that's the euphemistic way of saying reality, that the quality of customer service in the public sector is in need of improvement, another euphemistic way of stating the problem. Our citizens expect and deserve quality service in all interactions, and as the largest service provider, the public sector must lead in that regard.
He notes that improved efficiency and service will mean improved productivity, and there are many benefits to be derived.
We reduce waste, reduce costs, we receive less complaints, we have happier citizens, we have happier team members, and somehow that just dramatically translates into increased global competitiveness. But it is true, it does. Increased global competitiveness makes Jamaica more attractive for investments, and therefore provides new opportunities for our people, and the cycle continues with more jobs.
The Prime Minister shared with those in attendance why it was important at this time to launch the Service Excellency Policy.
Well, we have developed a comprehensive policy framework, and the policy is the vision broken down into a mission, then broken down into targets assigned to leaders with measurable outcomes and results, with a process to evaluate and monitor, and to take that evaluation and feedback to address the vision, to remission, to change targets, and it's an ongoing process. So we have developed that today, and we are now handing it over essentially.
The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, will have to return to the Ministry of Transport by September for additional budgetary support to offset the cost of fuel. 4 months into the 2022-2023 fiscal year, the JUTC says despite the reduced rollout of buses, its fuel bill has skyrocketed due to high fuel prices. The matter came up on Wednesday at Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, the PAAC.
We have really taken a hit with the fuel price because we are seeing that our figures are moving almost 35% to 40% increase in fuel prices. And I would say the reduced bus runout has helped us in that aspect. But if we were in a position of running out 325 buses, we would have been we'd be at Ministry of Finance's door already. Let's put it that way. We'd be at the Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Finance's door already, because with the price of fuel that has escalated like that, we have taken a strong hit with that, even in our current situation right now.
That was JUTC's Managing Director, Paul Abrams, addressing the PAAC. The government plans to provide support to public sector workers who earn salaries at the lowest levels for back-to-school expenses. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says this support, which will target persons earning $600,000 or less per annum, is being offered ahead of the completion of the public sector compensation review.
Remember, we don't have resources to intervene for everyone, but for persons who earn at the lowest levels of the public service, we'll be working on ways in which we can make the support available to you. And I will announce that in greater detail very shortly, clearly, because it would have to be in place for August.
He says more details about the intervention will be provided in the near future. The Tourism Linkages Network has added value to the contribution and involvement of the small and medium enterprises that are critical to the delivery of the tourism experience. Those words from Minister of Tourism Edwin Bartlett as he addressed the opening of the annual Christmas in July trade show at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in Kingston. This year's staging featured 180 producers of locally made items in various categories.
Adding value is what takes you to the next stage of your own development. And adding value is what gives you pride and joy and satisfaction that you have accomplished.
Minister Bartlett says tourism is a conference of many economic and tourism activities.
And if we said that 80% of that experience is the small and medium enterprises, we must build their capacity to be the beneficiaries of it.
Minister Bartlett says the Tourism Linkages Network has been offering training and finance opportunities to SMEs linked to the sector.
First item on our agenda: how do you build the capacity, the mental acuity and the abilities of our creative minds and producers to do more, to have a broader sense of their own creative horizon, and to be able to convert that creative energy into material goods that are being displayed here today, for example. The second was to finance, to find a way to provide the financial support to enable not just now the conversion of the ideas, but the building of inventory and capacity to produce more, and to manage that process of production. And finally, thirdly, which is what LaShonda is talking, so I get it right this time, I think, is marketing.
PAHO members are getting support in detecting and containing monkeypox. Speaking at a recent virtual press brief, Director of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, Dr. Carissa Etienne, said countries are being equipped with laboratory capacity and guidance to confirm infections. She says training has been done in 37 countries and territories.
With such confirmatory capacity now in place, we expect to see the detection of additional cases and confirm further spread in the coming weeks.
PAHO is offering guidance to healthcare professionals on the clinical management and diagnosis of the disease and infection prevention and control.
We are coordinating across regional and international partners to shape a shared roadmap to improve health technologies and production capacity in the Americas. Building on the established track record, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, and several Caribbean countries and territories are applying technology transfer agreements for products that have received emergency authorization use, setting them up to help each other share manufacturing methods.
A total of 1,325 cases of monkeypox have been reported in 14 PAHO member states since May 10, representing 14% of the global case count. PAHO has issued public health recommendations on surveillance, diagnosis, clinical care, and vaccination for close contacts of people with confirmed cases of monkeypox.
First, We are focusing on efforts to strengthen Latin America and the Caribbean's research and development capacity, particularly in mRNA vaccine development. Last year, we launched the regional platform to advance manufacturing of COVID vaccines and other health technologies. And through this platform, Synergium Biotech from Argentina and the Institute of Immunology, Immunobiology and in Biomanguinhos from Brazil have been identified to join the WHO mRNA vaccine technology network.
The Pan American Health Organization works with countries of the Americas to improve the health and quality of life of their populations. PAHO engages in technical cooperation with its member countries to fight communicable and non-communicable diseases and their causes, to strengthen health systems, and to respond to emergencies and disasters. In the business report, fuel prices down for the 5th week. Danita Rodney is at the business desk.
For a 5th consecutive week, motorists will see a decrease in gasoline and diesel prices when they fill up at the pumps. According to Petrojam, 87 and 90 octane gasoline will reduce by 25 cents, selling at $214.64 and $219.66 per liter respectively. Automotive diesel fuel will be sold for $226.76 per liter and ultra-low sulfur diesel for $229.50 per liter. Kerosene will also see a 25 cents decrease, selling for $201.05 per liter. Meanwhile, propane liquid petroleum will be sold for $69.94 per liter, following a $2 decrease, and butane liquid petroleum will be sold for $78.31 per liter, down $2.50. Remember that marketing companies and retailers will add their respective markups to the announced price. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, July 13, the US dollar sold for an average of $152.59. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $118.93. The pound sterling traded for $182.28, and the US sold for an average of $154.04. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Wednesday's trading session. The JSE index advanced by 374 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index declined by 73 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index declined by 310 points to close at over 300,000 units. And the all Jamaican composite index advanced by 495 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 102 stocks, of which 40 advanced, 51 declined, and 11 traded firm. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Caribbean Cement Company Limited, and Caribbean Cream Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 1834 Investments Limited, and Access Financial Services Limited. Trading firm were Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited USD, and ISP Finance Services Limited. The following companies represent the overall volume leaders: Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with over 7 million units, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 3 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited Ordinary Shares with over 1 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Clico Investment Fund was the volume leader with over 3,000 shares, followed by Calypso Macro Index Fund with 411 shares being traded. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Government of Barbados Bond Series B was the volume leader with over 60,000 shares, followed by Epley Caribbean Property Fund Value Fund with 20,000 shares, and Epley Caribbean Property Fund Development Fund, which traded 1,000 shares. In market data for oil prices fell as investors focused on the prospect of a large US rate hike later this month that could stem inflation but at the same time hit oil demand. Brent crude was down $1.23 to $98.34, and West Texas Intermediate crude was at $94.89 a barrel, down $1.41. That was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, the international independent organization Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders, says thousands of people are trapped without clean water, food, or access to medical care in a neighborhood of Cité Soleil, Port-au-Prince, as the death toll from clashes between armed gangs climbed to more than 50. Since July 8, people have been unable to leave due to violent clashes and the inability of water trucks carrying drinking water, on which the inhabitants depend, are not being able to enter the area. They are calling for the involved parties to spare the lives of citizens and allow aid to enter the neighborhood. In Antigua and Barbuda, the USAID-funded Juvenile Justice Reform Project has ended after 10 years of what has been hailed as innovative work within the sub-region. The official closing ceremony was held this week, allowing stakeholders from across the sub-region the opportunity to reflect and look ahead.
The JJRP has paved the way for reform, rehabilitation, and reintegration rather than incarceration. The reform program allows for children who find themselves in trouble with the law to be given a second chance by harnessing their skills and interests. Director General of the OECS, Dr. Didacus Jules, says the full impact of the JJRP in juvenile justice could take years to materialize.
The project has sought not simply to create new pathways of opportunity for youth in conflict with the law, but importantly, to also reconfigure the processes and modernize the approaches to juvenile justice. Over the course of today's proceedings, you will hear a lot about the achievements of the JJRP.
He adds, it is also necessary to look at youth who need to be engaged before they come in conflict with the law and those who are considered legal adults but still deserve a chance to be rehabilitated and reformed. Dr. Jules highlighted the urgency to further develop the JJRP due to the overwhelming geopolitical, economic, and climate-related conditions, which contribute to the rise in crime, psychosocial instability, and heightened poverty. Several countries shared their perspective on the impact of the juvenile justice, as well as testimonials on how the project has changed lives.
One of the conditions were that I had to take that program. The changes that I've made from the skills learned. Since the APT program, I am better at decision making, controlling my anger and environment. The ART program changed my life for the best.
The hope was expressed that sub-regional governments will take up the mantle and invest in the project, which still has more room for development.
Minister of Culture and Creative Industries, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, has hailed recent carnival events in St. Lucia as successful. Dr. Hilaire says the ministry is meeting its objectives for this carnival season. We hear more in this DBS TV report.
He says despite it being too early to compare numbers, the response from the public has been remarkable as he anticipates more of the same moving forward.
The season has gone quite well. We, as you know, decided to put the national events up front and the private events towards the back end. So it's still early for us to do any assessment in any detailed way, but from all indications, we seem to have had a very good response. I think the Queen Show was a fantastic show and really well put together. The television production as well was excellent. King, the Soca Monarch was also really good. The crowd support was excellent. The Calypso Finals was also well put together in terms of its production. I think the Calypsonians really put in a lot of effort. So we're now going on to the stretch the last few days. From tomorrow, the private parties will really start. Well, we probably started yesterday. There was WOW yesterday afternoon. And from tomorrow, all the bigger shows, the Calamity Reds, the Euphoria, Family, and the boat rides will have also started. So it's quite a vibe.
The minister reveals that despite certain health and safety challenges associated with COVID-19, he is elated that organizers were able to pivot and pull off such amazing events.
Barbados' health authorities say there are no confirmed cases of monkeypox to date. Minister of Health Ian Gooding-Edgehill on Wednesday issued a statement to the media that his ministry is paying the monkeypox epidemic lots of attention.
Let me assure the public that the Ministry of Health and Wellness is fully prepared to handle any cases of monkeypox in our nation. In addition, the ministry's port health staff will continue to conduct public health surveillance at our ports of entry. The ministry's public health team is well trained on surveillance and detection, and as has occurred in the past, when faced with any global outbreaks of infectious diseases, this team will continue to monitor our borders and protect public health in Barbados.
While the mandatory mask mandate is set to be removed this Sunday, July 17, Trinidad and Tobago's Health Minister, Terence Dale Singh, says businesses do have the right to determine whether people can enter their premises with or without a mask. The minister was speaking during the weekly COVID-19 health update on Wednesday.
By law, as we said, a business place, and you will see the signs, a business place can determine who comes in. You will see signs saying no sleeveless, no hats, no barefoot, no short pants. And this has been cleared by the Attorney General that any business place has the authority to determine whether someone comes into their establishment with a mask or without a mask.
While wearing masks will be voluntary come Sunday, people will still be required to wear masks at all health institutions, including dental clinics. It is also recommended that people wear masks in public spaces such as beaches and cinemas.
News further afield now. 6 candidates remain in the running to replace UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson after the first round of voting. Al Jazeera's Nadeem Baba reports from London.
Bye bye Boris, no one will cry.
A sing-along opposite Parliament, with some cabinet members competing to replace the Prime Minister following mass resignations within Conservative ranks. Some are wondering who's really running the country. But inside the Commons, Boris Johnson insisted he'd be leaving with no regrets.
Mr. Speaker, and I'm also proud of the leadership that I have given. And I will be leaving, Mr. Speaker, I will be leaving soon with my head held high.
We have a new Chancellor who accepted a job from the Prime Minister on Wednesday afternoon and then told him to quit on Thursday morning. And the new Education Secretary, whose junior ministers have literally been giving the middle finger to the public. It is truly the country's loss that they will only be in post for a few weeks.
I can now announce the result of the ballot held this afternoon.
On Wednesday, initial voting by Conservative MPs narrowed the field of would-be leaders to 6 names.
Our next Prime Minister!
Someone gaining momentum is Penny Mordaunt, a Trade Minister and former Defence Secretary. She's far from a household name, but tipped as the party activists' favourite.
If we do not win the next general election, all those opportunities and the vision that the British people had from us leaving the European Union will not be realised. We must win that election. I am your best shot at winning that election. I am the candidate that Labour fear the most.
But the newly appointed Chancellor, Nadeem Zahawi, is eliminated, as well as former Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt. The result of the final stage of voting among fewer than 200,000 Conservative members is expected by the 5th of September. So we're slightly closer to knowing who will be the next Conservative Party leader and hence Prime Minister. Once we're down to the last 2 candidates, it's up to the party membership, most of them over the age of 55, 2/3 of them men. Whoever they choose will face huge challenges, not only in reviving the party's fortunes, but in dealing with multiple crises this winter.
In sports, it is still unclear if reigning world long jump champion Tajay Gale will defend his crown. Gayle, who was training on Wednesday, is still hopeful of participating in the World Championships, which start on Friday. He injured his knee at the recently held National Senior Championships in Jamaica. Gayle created a massive upset when he leapt a national record 8.69 meters to win the gold medal at the 2019 World Championships in Doha. The West Indies were decimated by Bangladesh in Wednesday's second one-day international at the Guyana National Stadium in Providence as they lost by 9 wickets. Batting first, the Windies were bowled out for a paltry 108 of 35 overs. Player of the match, Nasum Ahmed, took 3 for 19. Kimo Paul was the highest scorer for the Windies with 25 not out. Bangladesh made light work of the target, finishing on 112 for one of 20.4 overs. Skipper Tamim Iqbal led the way with 50 not out, which gave the visitors 2-0 series win with only one match remaining. Before we go, a reminder that the Reggae Girls will be battling with Canada in tonight's second semi-final of the 2022 CONCACAF Women's Championship. Jamaica is the first Caribbean nation to attend the Women's World Cup. This will be the second time these teams will face each other in a CWC semi-final. In the previous one, back in 2006, the Canadians won 4-0. We wish the Reggae Girls well. Match kicks off at 9 p.m. And that's the news on PBCJ. Follow us on all our social media pages at PBCJamaica. Remember, we are the People's Station.